Michael Jackson finally laid to rest more than 2 months after his death. It was a private service attended by the Jackson family and many celebrity friends. NBC's Jeff Rawson has details on that. Good morning, Jeff.
Hi, Lester. Good morning to you. This was supposed to be a sunset service, but the Jacksons ran so late, they actually missed the sunset. It was pitch black when they finally showed up at Forest Lawn. This morning, we have our first look at the entire family together since the memorial service. In true Jackson style, the family motorcade arrived to a highly choreographed production. The gravesite lit up like a movie set. But when Michael's kids stepped out of the car, it was an instant reminder of their pain. Prince, Blanket, and Paris were here to say goodbye not to the king of pop, but just Dad. The children sat in the front row. At only 7, Blanket read the program about his father's life. Grandma Catherine and her husband Joe Jackson were also in the first row, sitting next to each other. Al Sharpton spoke at the service.
It was very solemn. The family had it as a private moment. I feel like I watched Michael finally given some peace, and I made a commitment that we're going to fight to make sure his legacy and what he stood for lives on.
Michael's brothers were pallbearers, all wearing white gloves, carrying Jackson's casket. Prince, Paris, and Blanket placed this small crown on their father's coffin. There were about 200 people invited, snapshots of the star's life. Of course, his relatives were there. That's Janet Jackson, who's kept a low profile since her brother's death. And there's LaToya Jackson. Also at the service, Michael's ex-wife, Lisa Marie Presley, along with his longtime friends Elizabeth Taylor and Macaulay Culkin. News cameras weren't allowed in. Instead, the Jacksons hired their own production team. But just as the service was about to begin, the video abruptly ended.
Defenders of the Jackson family might say, well, look, they let fans worldwide share at least somewhat in this private service. A cynic might say they just teased us and someday we're going to have to pay to see the actual service.
Jackson was interred inside Forest Lawn's Great Mausoleum, a legendary location, eternal home to legendary figures, including Walt Disney, Humphrey Bogart, Spencer Tracy, and Jimmy Stewart. The mausoleum is ultra-private.
The most recent addition to the tour, the home where Michael Jackson died.
Scott Michaels runs dearly departed tours, catering to the public's endless fascination with dead celebrities. So I think it's important to know, this won't be like Graceland where the public can just go visit him.
No, absolutely not. There are guards posted. Everything is monitored by cameras. It's not a place where you can wander around.
Now, our first sign that Michael's kids are trying to move on. Just before the service, Blanket was at the family's Encino compound playing around, even getting a piggyback ride. After the service, Jackson's relatives and celebrity friends gathered at this Italian restaurant to celebrate his life into the wee hours of the morning. It was an emotional service. In fact, so emotional, we're told that Catherine Jackson walked into the mausoleum where her son Michael was going to be interred, but was so overwhelmed she actually had to walk out. You can imagine a mother's pain. Criminal charges are possible in this case. Lester, Joe Jackson told me earlier this week that he hopes everyone involved in Michael Jackson's death pays for it. And so there's still this cloud that hangs over Michael Jackson and his family.
All right. Jeff Rawson in Los Angeles this morning. Jeff, thanks.
And now